Hello everyone, welcome back to our learning series. In our last session, we learned about how parameters can help us make our templates more flexible and reusable. Today, we will focus on decorators, which are powerful tools for adding extra rules and details to our template. While decorators are mostly used with parameter, they can also be applied to other elements in Bicep file. So what really are decorators? Decorators in Bicep help us to add extra rows or details to our parameters. They make our template smarter and easier to use. For example, we can use decorators to set rules like minimum or maximum length, allowed only certain values, or keep sensitive data secure. Let's look at how to apply decorators to parameters. But it's worth noting that decorators are applied to parameters for two major reasons. Is either we are setting constraints on these parameters or we are giving more information. To apply decorators to parameters, we have to use the keyword at, then followed by the type of decorator we want to use as an expression. Here is a list of decorators that we can pass to our parameters. But I want us to streamline this to the very common ones that we find in daily use of biceps. Now let's consider some common decorators. We have the description decorator that add information about parameters or outputs. Here we have an example, storage account name with a description decorator, which simply says the name of the storage account. So what this tells us is that the parameter storage account name is simply the name of the storage account. So we also have the allowed decorators that helps us to restrict input values for parameters. So let's say we want to deploy a database into two regions, which are East US and West US. So we have to restrict the deployment to only these regions by using the decorator allowed. So here is the simple example we have on our screen here. We also have the secure decorator that marks sensitive parameter like password as secure. This means that this will not be shown in our log. So if the values are not revealed, they remain secure. We also have the minimum length and the maximum length, which set length limit for string input. So we can have a practical example. Say for instance, we know fully well that Azure storage account has a naming convention that supports a minimum of 3 characters and a maximum of 24 characters. So we can take that understanding into Bicep definition file and apply these decorators to follow suit. Here's our simple storage account template we had, and we have actually added some parameters previously to it. So now we are as well adding decorators to it to do two things. It's either we are setting constraints or we are providing information. So looking at our left is the bicep template, and on our right is the parameters that provide the values to be passed to the templates as parameters. So the parameter storage account name you see here, okay, now has new decorators. We have the description decorator telling us that this parameter is the name of a storage account. Okay, we now have the minimum length as 3 and its maximum length as 24. This means that the limits for the name of this string or the length of this string has been defined as 3 and 24. So what happens if we go to the parameter file, okay, and make these 2 character lengths, right? If you hover over this, you see the error telling us exactly that we have not met the constraint. So let's undo this change. Okay, just undo this change and move to the next parameter. The location parameter now has more information. using the description decorator. So I really want us to look at the storage account SKU. Okay, we see it has the description decorator giving us more information that this is a storage account type. And of course, we have the allowed decorators telling us also that this has some constraints to the allowable value for the deployment, meaning that the SKU listing here must be the one provided for deployment. Now, this is like all the SKU types, really, right? So let's say we don't want standard LRS to be deployed. We will come here and take that out of this allowed decorator. Okay, so what that means is if we are passing the standard LRS as a parameter, it will not be deployed. It will fail validation. So you can see that the standard, the LRS was used as the storage account SKU, and thus it has failed validation. If we hover around this, we will see the error telling us that we have not provided an expected value. So that's how decorators can really help you further set constraints or provide information to your deployment file. So let's consider why we use decorators. Decorators help us avoid errors. For example, if someone tries to deploy to an unsupported region or uses an unsupported name, the template will stop them before it starts. Decorators help us to keep our sensitive data secure. By using secure decorator, we can mask the value away from deployment logs. Decorators allows us to pass more information into our code, serving as a source of documentation as a code. Here are some best practices for parameters. Make sure parameter names are easy to understand by using clear names. Where feasible, set default values to avoid unnecessary validation errors. This will save time during deployment. Where applicable, use constraints. Add decorators like allowed or secure to make templates reliable. Avoid hard coding to keep templates feasible and reusable across different environments. Also, do not write secrets like password directly in a file. You can consider using Azure keywords to store secrets and make reference of this value which may be safely fetched from the source, which is the keywords. For group related values, use objects to organize parameters. In this session, we have focused on using decorators with parameters. While decorators are often used with parameters, you can also use them for other elements in Biceps, such as variable, resource, module, output, function, and type. As we follow along in this learning series, we will have more opportunity to explore some of these concepts. Stay tuned and follow through the learning series.